So Greece becomes the first EU country to introduce a 6-day working week. Why has Greece taken this decision, and what does this mean as far as the global average of working hours, working days is concerned? How much work is essentially too much work? Well, to decode all of this, we have Mitali Nikor, senior economist. Mitali, thank you so much for your time. First, for those wondering, why has Greece taken this decision?
So I think, Sakshi, when we are looking at this decision in the context of the Greek economy, we have to understand two very unique characteristics of the Greek economy. The first, most unique characteristic of the Greek economy is the high unemployment rate, particularly amongst youth. So when we look at the youth unemployment rate in Greece today, it's almost 23%, which is the highest amongst all OECD countries, amongst this group of rich countries across the world to which Greece still belongs. It's the highest youth unemployment rate. So imagine 1 in 5 young people under 25 looking for a job are not getting a job, right? So that automatically makes your working conditions, like if you have a job, it puts you at a point where I don't want to lose this job, right? Because I got this job with such difficulty. The second thing, which is very evident about the Greek economy, and I can say this because I recently went to Greece for almost a 2 week, holiday plus workcation, and what I observed there is that the hospitality sector plays an outsized role in the economy. So we all dream of that Greek vacation, right? But then to make that Greek vacation happen, there are people who work to in the hospitality sector, in the restaurant sector, and the retail sector. Now all of these people, I saw them working till at least 10 or 11 p.m. on a daily basis, and even beyond that on some days. Like the shops and markets are often open till 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And many of them, when I was speaking to them, they actually said that they are not getting paid for this overtime that they are doing. So they are working very long hours because of this high unemployment rate, because there is this situation in which they find themselves. It's a vulnerable type of employment. It's also a seasonal employment because tourism is a seasonal industry. So now,
Right.
with this new law, what they are bringing in place is actually a compensation mechanism for overtime, for all of these unpaid overtime workers.
Right. So I'd like to bring in the spotlight on this decision in greater detail, as you have there, with Greece saying that, look, workers who exceed the 40-hour threshold will get 40% in overtime pay, employees to get up to 115% more pay if they work on Sundays. So as you're saying that, look, they're sort of making this norm now, a law now, for those who are exceeding this. They're also saying that, look, this 6-day work week is optional for workers in certain sectors, in private businesses. So therefore, but if we have to look at this apart from Greece, Mitali, if we have to look at this apart from why Greece has done this and say that, look, globally also, what
Yeah.
is the average working number of days and hours? Because many are saying that, look, Greece is bucking the trend as the world is shifting towards 4 days a work week. So what do you have to say to those?
So I want to say three things to those people. The first is go to Greece and understand Greece's economy. People who are sitting in Europe and in the UK and the US who are commenting on this, and I went through a lot of so-called experts who are commenting on this. What they are not understanding is that the Greek economy is so dependent on tourism, and it is so dependent on hospitality at this point. Plus, the debt levels of the Greek economy are so high, they cannot afford to lose tourists. So not only the European tourists, but tourists coming from Asia, from India, from China, from all of these places across the world want to come to Greece and experience a kind of hospitality that they are used to in Asia, not the levels that that we get normally in Europe, which are not as good as Asia. So in order to reach that global standard that Asia has set, in terms of hospitality, they have to work longer hours. But at the same time, given the European value of paying for those longer hours, which should be there, this law has been brought into place. Second thing, when we look at the composition of the youth unemployment and the kind of mechanisms that youth have to employ to actually the kind of work they have to do currently to just survive. When you bring in these kind of norms and measures, it's actually guaranteeing their job security, their safety, and their rights. So I don't think that this is going against worker rights in any way. In fact, it's guaranteeing that if you're working on a Sunday, you have to be paid 115%. The third thing is, I would like to ask many of these experts, and I was thinking about it myself. Sometimes when we are working, right, especially in the knowledge economy, we don't even think about the hours we are working, right? A lot of these norms of 40-hour work week, etc., were set for the manufacturing sector because that involves physical labor. Now, if we are talking about bringing in competitiveness in an economy like Greece, for the knowledge economy, for the STEM sector, for sciences, in that it's not physical labor that's involved. So again, do we have to reevaluate some of these norms even from that perspective? That you may be doing your 48 hours in 4 days, and then after that clocking in your overtime. So I think work systems all over the world need to evolve away from this 40-hour 8-hour work day which was set at factories to today, where it's in the knowledge economy. What works, what doesn't work is totally different.
Absolutely. And, you and I were discussing earlier, the average that we seem to have sort of got, given our research, is 40 hours, and of course, 40 hours a week. We've seen 5 days a week. That is the average so far, globally, what we're seeing, right? 9 hours a day and so on. But having said that, is this then a message to the world that, look, it's time to, like you said, clock in those extra hours, give your employees an overtime, and sort of formalize this? Because, like you said, more often than not, you don't realize the number of extra hours you do anyway on a given day, and how much work is too much work then.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, we have to set work systems in a manner that don't discriminate between people who want to work longer hours and people who want to work shorter hours, right? As a woman, especially, at some point of my life, say if I'm younger, I might be clocking in and want to clock in, 10, 15 hours a day even, in order to increase my learning. And then say if I become a mother, and if I'm then I may require shorter hours. So I think we need to set up work systems in such a manner that people can clock in and clock out, and have those conversations with their employers in a very free manner, that this is as much work as I can put in, and these are as many hours as I would like to do. Nothing like, we should not discriminate between those who work longer and work shorter hours. And that's how we can even make more inclusive workspaces, gender inclusive as well as inclusive to persons with disabilities, who can also do work of certain nature but may not be able to do very long hours. But they may do some tasks exceptionally well, better than people who don't have disabilities. So,
Absolutely. And, as we
think about workplaces has to change.
Right. And as we talk about work hours, we have to remember that more often than not, now we're shifting to the hybrid work model, right? We're already sort of seeing. So again, it's not just hours in work. Like you said, you could be sitting at home and you could yet, your mind could be at work. You could be sending emails. You could be putting some presentations together and so on. So what really then defines this altogether, is candid conversations, transparency, regulation, the need of the hour.
Absolutely. The regulation is what Greece has done. Recognizing that one is putting in those hours anyway, then you should be compensated for those hours. And as those hours exceed a certain, maximum threshold of what is good, productive from a health perspective, right? From a mental and physical health perspective, several studies have shown that 40 hours is the threshold in a week. But if somebody needs to for financial reasons, or if somebody is already doing it because of the way the economy is structured, then at least they should be compensated for it. And this is exactly what Greece has done. So in my view, this is a positive step, because we are recognizing that, look, this is happening anyway. So, we can't crack down on people working longer hours with this kind of unemployment rate and this kind of debt level. So at least let's make sure that our workers are getting fairly compensated for the extra hours that they are already putting.
All right. So for all of those reading that headline on the 6-day working week and Greece's latest decision, thank you so much for decoding really what this means for Greece and what the rest of the world really needs to move towards too. Not in terms of our work days or work hours. We're not suggesting that, but we're talking about candid conversations, transparency, and regulation.